Hey everybody, Erica Serwin here from Pinkbucker Designs, and I have a card that I have been so excited to share with you. This uses the Mountaineer bundle from Stampin' Up. It's in the current 2020, let's see if I can remember the name, January to June catalog. I call it the spring catalog, but it's a reversible stamp, which means that you can use the detailed side and then you can flip it over and use it for a silhouette or a fill-in. Isn't that gorgeous? And then of course, matching dies. We always love matching dies. Now you might think that's a weird mountain range, Erica. That's really weird. Look at those colors. However, I have to tell you that I have been inspired by my favorite place on earth. We have gone there twice now for vacation with the kids, and I spent a lot of time there because of Stampin' Up. My inspiration is Utah, Arizona. You guys, if you haven't seen the mountains there, you have to put it on your bucket list. It is the most gorgeous place on the planet, in my opinion. We just were there spring break, and I brought some little things to show you so you can see where I got my colors. The mountains there are amazing. They're just varied in color, and sometimes even like this one, you'll see how there'll be a mountain range that just has layers of color, and it just is breathtaking. Here's one more. So I just wanted to show you so you can see. There's a glare on that, so you can see where I got my inspiration. I'm telling you, this is our favorite place. My family's favorite place to go. The kids begged to go back there this year. All right, let me show you how I made the card. This is my color range, okay? So at the top we have Grapefruit Grove, then Terracotta Tile, then Cajun Craze, Crumb Cake, Soft Suede, Early Espresso. So those are the colors that you're going to use. You're going to stamp the mountains in each of these colors on the same color cardstock, okay? Now, luckily, I have done almost all of them ahead of time because you're going to have to cut them out too. So a little bit tedious, but not difficult. But I'm going to show you how to stamp and cut. This is the stamp that I was saying that you could, this side is the detailed mountains, and on the back side, you would just peel it off and flip it over like that if you wanted the silhouette. I used the other side on another video here on YouTube, and these were a Facebook Friday project. There's 3 of them. You can go over, click the link here, and it'll take you to the blog post where there's this PDF that has all the measurements and all the information on there for you. All right, so I've inked it in Grapefruit Grove. Now I've put down my piercing mat because it just helps when you have a photopolymer stamp. Sometimes, depending on what surface you're stamping on, you might not get a very solid image, and putting that foam mat down really, really helps. All right, so we've done that. You're going to do that in all those colors. Then you're also going to need Mossy Meadow, and the Mossy Meadow we're going to use for the trees, which have disappeared on me. They're probably over here on the other tray. Sorry about that. Mossy Meadow ink on Mossy Meadow cardstock. Old Olive would work as well, I think. And we're going to stamp that right there. Okay, there we go, beautiful. Now let's get our die cut machine, bring it over. I have open ink pads, and I know I need to close them because if you leave an open ink pad on your work surface, I guarantee you something's going to fall on it that you don't want to have ink on it. How many times has that happened to me? Lots. All right, now this one is just an edgelet. This one's going to cut out the whole mountain range. This one's an edgelet, which means it's just cutting out the edge. It's going to leave all this down here. You can trim this to however big or small that you need it, okay? So get all those trees lined up perfectly in there and run it through. And then we're going to do lots and lots of layering. All right, so there's this is actually not the Grapefruit Grove. This is actually the Terracotta Tile piece. I did the Grapefruit Grove ahead of time. Terracotta Tile. Terracotta Tile is an in color, so is Grapefruit Grove. Different years, different groups of in colors. Okay, so let's look at our colors. So here we have Mossy Meadow, and at the top we're going to have that Grapefruit Grove, Terracotta Tile, Cajun Craze, Crumb Cake, Soft Suede, and Early Espresso. Okay, now I have a piece of Balmy Blue, and I've cut it 3 by 5.5. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top. And I am going to, well, if I could pick it up, I'm going to do this one flat, okay? And I'm just going to do it right there, like that. Now I'm going to start with the dimensionals. One thing you need to remember is to vary your mountains as you go. You don't want to have identical peaks in all the same places, okay? So if I put it right there, see how they would be identical? So I'm going to move this over like that. Okay, and then 2 more dimensionals, and this time the Cajun Craze. Cajun Craze is really the color of the mountains you'll see in Sedona. Sedona is a gorgeous place. We drove through there. We haven't spent time there. We've driven through. I think the next time we're going to actually spend some time there because it is amazing. All of you from that area, oh, you're so blessed to be able to look at that every single day. And I guess you probably get used to it, but down here in South Texas, where I live, we have scrubby oaks, and we live in the hill country, so we have some hills, but nothing like those mountains. All right, Soft Suede. And then I'm going to finish it off here with the Early Espresso, the darkest. Right there. And then last but not least, we are going to put our tree line. You could think about, if you live in a mountainous area, what colors are your mountains? And you could do this, just different layers of color. You can even, if you wanted to do all one color, you could do stamping in a dark and then stamping again before you re-ink. That creates a lighter shade. All right, so obviously we got to do something, right? So grab your trimmer or your scissors, and you're just going to follow the edge of that Balmy Blue. Seems like a waste, right? To trim off and have all those little pieces. Maybe you can make another card with those pieces. There we go. Now we have it even. Probably best to do it with your trimmer, but I just grabbed my scissors. And we're going to put this on an Early Espresso card base. But before I actually attach it, I'm going to emboss this sentiment so that if I mess up, I can grab another card base. The sentiment is from this beautiful stamp set called Do the Impossible. I wanted something long to go along it, and so it says it's kind of fun to do the impossible. When I saw that, I thought, hello, that's perfect to go along with those mountains, right? When you think about hiking up those mountains. All right, so I'm just going to place that where I think I want it, and let's open this up right there. I'm going to rub that embossing buddy right there. That's going to remove any static cling that might have collected or that will collect those little embossing powders, the little tiny powders. Now this is a craft ink. You can order the ink pad uninked, and then you ink it with a refill that it comes with in white. I'm going to stamp that right there. Okay, good, good, good. Now let's move this. How many of you have messed your card up at the very, very end when you stamp the sentiment? Yeah, more times than I'd like to admit. So that's why I didn't want to attach that, because if I messed up and didn't stamp that right, it would be much easier to get a new card base than try to pull it off, rip everything up. All right, so we're going to heat this up with a heat tool. It takes about 15 seconds to hit the right temperature. And once it does, you'll see your words become really bright and shiny. Now I use just white embossing powder. There we go, gorgeous. And it dries pretty fast, but it is a little bit sticky, so don't touch it. Give it like, oh, maybe 20 seconds, and then it'll be hard. All right, now, you know, more dimensionals. If you're gonna mail it, you gotta put an extra stamp on it. Worth it, totally worth it. All right, now we're gonna come over here and let's make sure it's over far enough, right there. And there you have it. This would make a great masculine card. You know, most of my cards I think are pretty girly, but this one, it just is very masculine. What do you guys think? I think it looks like my beautiful postcard over here. Doesn't it? So pretty. All right, you guys, make sure you hop over to my blog to grab that PDF. You can order any of the supplies listed there from my Stampin' Up! Store. And please let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you'll give this fun little card a try. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.